Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit more about notaries and their fears. This is, yes, part 2. So without further ado, let's just jump back into it. Now, you know I had already mentioned to you before about not being afraid of the actual paperwork itself. So whether it's general notary work, but most definitely also for loan signing. Look, if you're doing loan signing, you will be printing the paperwork out. So you're going to have the papers with you all the way from the jump, right? They're already in front of you. You can't fear what you already got. I can see if you were going to go to actually see the borrower, they already had papers. If they already got papers, then you know you got to deal with that. But if you're printing these papers out, you have the upper hand on it, right? That's what they're there for. When you get those papers, you prep them so that when you go see these people, you can walk up in there like a boss. Let me show you something. Let's just pretend like these are papers that came through for the actual work. You're going to go through the papers. You're going to find everywhere where it says for them to sign. You're going to put a little sticky there. You're going to find every little place where it says initial. You're going to put a little sticky there. You're going to look for papers that don't have a actual title at the top, but somewhere mixed off in there it may say wording for a notary, like say for instance, on blank before me blank, you know that's yours. So if it doesn't have a seal area right there, you know you're going to have to put a seal there because you got to sign it. That's your part of the paper. So what you're going to do is you're going to put a little sticky note there, and you're going to type up right on that little sticky note, this is for me. And when you get in front of those people, when you get ready to get to that part, you know you're going to sign it, and what? You're going to stamp it. Boom, right there. Take control of the actual paperwork. Don't let the paperwork take control of you. Number 2. Let me see what I got. Oh, don't want to come off as a newbie in front of the borrower. Now, you already know that most times you're going to run across someone who is actually going to be petty. They're going to be, a little bougie and be looking at you and wondering if you are new or not. They won't wonder if you're new or not if you don't come off as being new. So you have to come off as though you know what you're doing. And you know why? Because you do know exactly what you're doing. You took class. You know what you're doing. You learned it. You realize how easy it was. But now that the time has come and things are popping off and it's ready to go and hit that pavement, hit that ground running, you worried about coming off as a newbie. You won't come off as a newbie. You go. Let me tell you something. I fill my bag up full of all of my supplies, and when I go to pulling out. When the first file you pull out, you immediately look like you know what you're doing. Just don't be dropping it, don't be stuttering and all of that stuff. Build some confidence. Get some confidence going. Get in the mirror, talk to yourself. Go on ahead and sweat it out. You got bubble guts, get the bubble guts out the way before you leave the house, okay? And when you get in that car, you talk to yourself. Self-talk. Let's go, let's do this. Walk up in the door like you know what you're doing. I'm telling you, the paperwork is going to be so easy and simple if you prep those papers and make sure you know what you're looking for. But just in case you don't prep, you don't have time, because sometimes they'll send you paperwork you didn't even know. Well, you knew they were coming, but you thought it was going to come really fast. They turn around and sent that to you at the last minute. So now you can't prep, right? You didn't even know how many papers you got. You done printed out all these papers. You don't know what to expect when you get there. But guess what? You do know what to expect. You know that they're going to have to sign. You know that they're going to have to date in some spots. You know that most of those paperwork, if you have 2 signers, one of them going to say this signer's name up under the line. You know they sign on top. One over here going to say this signer's name up under the bottom. You know they sign on top. What? If it says Mary B. Jackson, then she needs to sign Mary B. Jackson on top of it. Simple as that. I always tell them, sign your name just as you see it. All you got to do is make sure that you know where you put your seal and where you put your signature. Oh, there you go. Be a boss when you go in. Build that confidence, okay? Number 3. Most notaries are afraid that if they mess something up, and the signing service has to send them back. Signing service send you back to the person's house. Okay, so they had to send you back. Look, There may come a time when you will mess up and have to go back. If the time comes where I mess up and I have to go back, I'm going to go back. And you know why? Because at the end of the day, I know for a fact that the person that I'm going to see, the borrower, okay, all I can do is apologize. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, this form was left out. Blame it on somebody else. It ain't got to be your fault. Apparently, this form was left out. And I do most definitely apologize. But we have to get this one signed real quick, and then I'll be on my way. Thank you so much. Be done with it, okay? Because what? At the end of the day, those people want that loan. I'm going to keep saying it over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Those people want that loan, and they glad you came back. Don't go back worried. I don't know what happened. I missed something. Don't acknowledge that. Apparently, these papers was left out. There you go. Let's move on. Y'all know I got an answer and a trick for everything. Okay, so number 4, and this one is a real simplistic one right here. Some notaries just afraid that they're going to freeze up when they see them papers for the first time. When you first get there, you get that brain freeze. You be like, oh my God, what am I going to do next? You know what? I'm making it, a light of the situation, but I know it's a legitimate fear. Now sometimes that will happen, but you just have to get used to seeing them, because you're going to see a lot of them a lot of times. Once you start actually seeing the paperwork, you're going to realize that most times when you go places, it's always the same docs. A lot of those docs are the same exact docs, and all you're going to realize is that you just be doing repetitious work. So you just have to get used to it the first go round, but once you start seeing the work, you'll get used to it. So just, you know what? Before you leave the house, that little breathing technique people tell you to do all the time with breathing 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. Okay, we're gonna do it real quick just for 3 seconds, okay? Before you leave the house, you get your bag, you got everything together. You know you're finna go see these people. You know you're finna go have to deal with the paperwork, okay? Breathe in, 3 seconds. Breathe out. Rinse and repeat. Look in the mirror. Say, I am a boss. And go get in your car. Number 5. If I'm miscounting this, you know what? It is what it is. Okay. Number 5. Some notaries just have a lot of fears that can actually be warranted. And some of you are just afraid to put yourself out there. Are you afraid to put yourself out there? Are you afraid of meeting new people? Are you afraid of the unknown inside of someone's house? You just afraid of just going. Let me tell you something. I don't know, and I cannot speak for anybody else and what they probably have actually experienced. But me, personally, I have not experienced anything unnatural, anything bizarre, anything weirded out inside of anybody's place. I have never dealt with that. I haven't done, I'm not a veteran. A veteran? Is that how you say that? You know what I mean. I'm not one of those. But I do know for a fact that if you sniff some stuff out on your way there and it just makes you uncomfortable, do not feel like you have to do it. You know why? Because you're not a child. You are a grown woman or a man. If it feels very uncomfortable, the atmosphere, the environment where you're going, if it feels uncomfortable, then you bust a move. You call the signing service. You say, you know what? You got to get it to somebody else, and they can do whatever they got to do. You know what I mean? But other than that, come up out of that shell. You got to come up out of that shell, because I'm pretty sure you're going to meet a lot of wonderful, wonderful people along the way, and all you need to do is just put your best foot forward. Okay, number 6. Some notaries are afraid that if they don't accept the job or whatever, based off their own personal reasons, that the companies are going to get together, they're going to discuss you, they're going to all decide to meet up at the next Starbucks or somewhere in a large building by the water faucet and talk about you, talk about your poor attendance, and then decide we just ain't going to give her no work. Or, as we like to say in Hollywood, blacklist your butt. Well, you know what? This is the way I look at it. Sometimes you just cannot accept these orders. You can't go do exactly what these people want you to do when they want you to do it. Because you know they pop off at the last ass minute. You got something coming in on your phone, and it says an hour and a half from now, or those ones that I really despise, them ASAPs. You know what? You can or you can't. And if they gonna do, let them do what they do. Because at the end of the day, what's meant for you is meant for you. And they can't stop you. They can't stop your success. There it is. Make your choice. If you don't want to do the actual order, you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to. It's absolutely your choice if you want to do the job or not. That's why you got into this business, for the flexibility and to be able to decide and be able to say yes or no, and you make choices on your own. So, hey, it is what it is on that too. And let me tell you something real quick when it comes to actually being afraid of these papers, okay? I'm going to read something to you, and I know you're going to find it familiar, okay? Pay attention. Let me read it to you. A notary public or other officer completing this certificate verifies only the identity of the individual who signed the document to which this certificate is attached, and not the truthfulness, accuracy, or validity of that document. Once again, the notary who is completing this certificate only has identified the individual, and not whether this information and these forms are truthful, whether they're accurate, or whether they're valid. Ain't none of our business. There it is, top of the acknowledgement. You can see that right there. Let me pull it so you can see it. Leave it up there for just a second so you can read it right there in that box, okay? It is not our responsibility to be concerned ourselves with what's going on with those papers, so don't fear those papers. You are not there to notarize those papers. You are there to notarize those signatures, and that's it. Find the signature, put a tag on it. What? Send them people on their way. Y'all know what to do. You know what to do. You know what to do, because at the end of the day, I only have one more thing to say, and you guys know what it is. That's the road to freedom and flexibility will be a very long and almost unreachable or unattainable road. You will never reach the finish line if you don't put yourself out there. That ain't got nothing to do with just loan and notary signing. That could be anything you decide to do with your life. If you don't put yourself out there and be able to open up, spread your wings. If you don't decide that you're going to do that, you're going to always be what? Exactly where you are right now. You know you don't want that. So, hey, take some deep breaths and take charge of all of these situations. You got it. You know you got it. You got it. You learned it. Go do it. And before you go, you know what to do. Hit that like button. Hit that notification bell after you subscribe, because you know I'm coming back with something else later. Thank you guys so much for watching my video.